Welcome to the Mommy Millennials podcast, where we don't claim to have all the answers, just a willingness to figure it out. We're your hosts, Jocelyn
and Lauren, proud girl moms and best friends sharing our take on mommyhood. Whether you're changing a dirty diaper, stuck in traffic, or just have a minute to yourself,
we're so happy you're here. Hi.
Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I want to say I've missed you for some reason.
It's because we've been hanging out with other people. We had to share our energy.
That's probably true.
But you've had a lot going on.
Lucian was like, don't you guys need a break from each other?
Yeah. We're like, no.
We're like, no, we're good. Thanks. Thanks for your concern.
You've had a lot going on this
week.
I've
been busy.
I mean, couple preschool tours, couple preschool applications, or just the one.
Just the one. Just the one. And I'm like in this.
Are you in a weird headspace about it?
In a lot of different ways. I'm in a weird headspace. Well, you know, I had applied for her to go to a preschool a long time ago. Like I toured the school when I was pregnant.
I'm sorry for laughing.
Yeah, no, because
I'm sorry for the listeners. Yeah. I'm laughing because Jocelyn's idea of how this whole thing was going to go has been completely different.
Well, yeah, because I applied for this freaking school and I did the tours. I wrote the essays. I had family recommendations. I did all the things and they want diversity. And I'm like, how many Latina girls do you have in that bitch? Like, sorry. When I toured it there, I didn't see any.
Oh, okay.
At least not that I remember, you know? And so I'm like...
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And she's been waitlisted twice. And I'm like, you know what? It is not that deep. I don't even want her to go there anymore anyway. Like, bye. However, that really sucks because that was like an easy thing for me. I was like, okay, I know she's going to go here. I've checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't she get in?
You know what we always say, parenting is so humbling. There's no reason why we should act like we can plan shit out because
for sure. That's where you're going with that. I was like, I don't know what about her being waitlisted.
Oh no, not
from a preschool twice.
Is humbling.
It's
not. It's just annoying.
It's really annoying.
It also makes me think about somebody that we know who I was recently talking to. Her daughter is 8 years old and she's currently living in London, thinking about moving to this area. And she was asking me all these questions about the schools in the area. And she was like, how do you like this school? Or what do you think about this school? Or whatever. And honestly, I didn't have many opinions because I didn't really look around that much. And she's older, by the way. And she said, why are they interviewing me to send my daughter to this school? I'm choosing to give you my money. And you're telling me that my daughter has to be on a wait list? No, she's not.
Girl, you know, I decided not to tour a school because it was like parent interviews may be done on the spot. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I feel like I'm being so negative about this but the process of it is really annoying.
Okay, let's pause. What about the parent interviews makes you pause?
I think a part of it is that I already checked all the boxes with this one very prestigious school and she got waitlisted and I'm like, I'm not going to keep wasting my time. My time is valuable. I'm sure there are other places where she will still get a great education. I might vibe, you know, you and I have had this conversation. I might vibe with the parents more where I'm not going to be interviewed. this is not a job.
Yeah.
She's 2. Well, she will be 2. No, just no. I just now just feel morally against it. And one of the things that I've really had to reckon with, in this process is my thought process before having kids on when you should put children into school, what that looks like and all of that. And then now that I have a child, what I want for her. And not only what I want for her, what I think she's supposed to have or should have, and then what actually aligns with who I am, who our family is, and our values.
And what she needs.
Oh, of course. But girl, who knows what she needs?
You know what she needs.
I mean, like, she needs to go to school.
You know what type of school she needs to
thrive.
thrive.
I think she needs a really gentle place. I think she needs somewhere that's going to really help work with me on transitions because of how I want to parent.
Yeah. I don't think that you're wrong.
I mean, I never think I'm wrong. Well, I always tell moms, like, you're never wrong either. We make the best decision we can given the information we have.
That's right.
And so with the information in front of us, we make the right decision every single time.
You've said a lot of things already that I want to just
give them to me.
Dive into. You talked a little bit about the age before you had Aurora. Did you know that you wanted to put her in school around this age?
Yes.
Okay.
So
that hasn't changed.
Well, it has, in that I've thought about delaying it.
Got it.
But I always was like, my goal is to keep her home for 2 years and then at 2, send her off.
Okay.
Ship her away.
And at what point in this recent process were you like, she's not ready? Or was it I'm not ready?
I still don't know if she's ready, but what I do know is that my childcare situation is getting trickier and trickier. Mm-hmm. And it stresses me out a lot. And I'm really working on getting rid of as much of those stressors as I can. And I just can't keep figuring out this care situation to keep her at home. And so that's what kind of opened this up. Because I had always kind of said, if she gets into that one school that she's been waitlisted at, it'll be a sign from God and I'm going to send her. Mm-hmm. And she's been waitlisted twice. Maybe the sign hasn't come, or maybe it was just a different sign, right? That just wasn't the right place for her, because I do feel really overwhelmed by figuring out who's going to care for her and having trust in those people in my home,
And it changes almost every day.
In the last few weeks, it's changed a lot. And I feel like I rely on my parents a lot. They like to travel and do things, and then that puts me in binds. Then I have to figure it out with work. I want my parents to go out. I want them to do their thing. It's my baby, not theirs, and I appreciate all of the help that they give me. Mm-hmm. And I say that very kindly on the podcast, like it's my baby and not theirs. I don't use that language with them. Mm. I say, nieta querían, nieta tienen. So, like, help me out. Mm-hmm. Y'all did want this baby. Mm-hmm. And, and they help me out a tremendous amount. But, they have their vacations. They like going to El Salvador. They have lots of friends who have events. And, they're all empty nesters. And my parents had a tremendous responsibility taking care of us and my grandmother for so long that after my grandmother passed away last year, it's really time for them to really be free.
Yeah.
And it stresses me out. And then I, feel bad that I feel a little bit of resentment towards them because it messes with my plan. So I need consistency. And also, we know that children thrive in consistency.
You stole the words right out of my mouth.
So I want her to have consistency.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure she's ready for the transition. Who knows if she'd ever really be ready. But I think we've found a place that is going to help me really ease that transition. Like, I don't have to sign a contract for a year. So if we try it for a couple weeks and it doesn't work, I give them 30 days notice, and then she's back at home, and we'll try again next year.
I think that so much pressure goes into that first step and making sure you find the right place in every sense, right? A place that is close to home, a place that aligns with your values, a place that makes the transition easier for you.
And a place that's diverse.
Yeah. I mean, the list goes on, as we just kind of covered. So it's important that you take your time throughout that decision or during that process. But I also, from my own experience, realize that, to your point, I don't know that any parent is ever really ready to take that leap. And even when you do it scared, and you do it because you know that in the big picture, it's what's best for them. You want them to have an education, and it has to start somewhere. And I guess what I'm getting at is it might feel scary for a little while, but you'll get there. It will just take some time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'm just reminding you to be gentle with yourself, and also don't think that your fear is always necessarily a warning sign.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like in that first week, if she's having a horrible time, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's not ready, you're not ready, this isn't working. You kind of have to give things a little bit of time and a chance. And I know that's easier said than done.
I was going to say, you're going to have to remind me of that in the moment.
I mean,
quite a bit.
Aurora can surprise us all.
I really hope she does.
And she can be like,
I really hope she does.
Thank you.
You have no idea how much I'm like, please, 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 please let this be a me thing. Please let me be wrong. Please let us show up. Please let it be one. Because I know realistically, yeah, there are some kids, but I feel like they're few and far between that really get there and they're like, okay, bye, mommy. And I've never had that experience with her, but I really hope it's like a day or two. Or, she's easily distracted and she's like, wait, this is all really cool or whatever. I'm already talking to her about it.
And how has she been responding to that? I know she
seems a little confused, I think. I just say,
funny.
La niña va a ir a la escuela. And she goes, escuela. And I go, sí, solita. And she goes, solita.
You should say there are other kids there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
She's probably going to... You leaving me alone in this building?
You're so right.
Are you already telling her she's going to be alone, girl?
Yeah, you're so right. Okay, tomorrow, I'm going to start reframing that narrative. Well, and then I say, va a ir a la escuela, como, and I'll mention someone older that she knows, so-and-so va a la escuela. ¿Usted va a ir a la escuela? Escuela. I'm like, va a aprender, va a dibujar, se va a divertir. But I don't ever mention other kids.
And you wonder why she has a stank face at the library.
For real.
With other kids.
For real.
But I feel like she's been getting along with kids a lot more lately. When she came to that play date we had here.
Yeah.
She was...
No, she has.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just laughing because, yes, at that play date, she did a better job. All I'm thinking of, there is this photo that maybe we'll post. Aurora's at the library. And she's got her little pigtail. And she's holding a girl much older than her, is like reaching for a book or something. And Aurora's got her by the shirt. And she's like... She's like... And so when you say she's been better, yes. I think that's, normal behavior. We had a preschool tour today. And, we're like, so how do you handle tantrums? They were like, oh, is she the first? And I said, not only the first, also the first grandchild on both sides. And like the youngest baby around most people. And the director of the school goes, oh, yeah, she's going to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. And I was like, yeah. Well, because, you know, when it is the first, and the first on so many levels, I had this conversation with my sister-in-law. It is very hard to make the world not revolve around them. Mm-hmm. Because you want something, we don't even think twice. It would be dumb of us to be like, please wait for this cookie or whatever, when like we're adults, we can just grab it. And the director,
Paciencia.
I know. The director was like, you know, I'm sure she said, I'm sure when she wants something, there are multiple people tripping over themselves wanting to get it for her. And that is so true. And it's not necessarily me and Steve. Like, we're kind of like, okay, we'll get there. But the grandparents.
Okay, hold on. Because this is exactly what I think will be uncomfortable for her in the school.
For sure.
So you cannot misinterpret that.
What do you mean?
For example, let's call it the first 2 days. Anxious. They are observing that she is having difficulty with the concept that we just said. Mm-hmm. Of sharing, of the world not revolving around her, that there's other kids, etc. And then she sees you and she's like, Mama, this place is horrible.
Yeah.
In her language.
Yeah.
And you're like, we're never taking her there again.
I know. I wonder what I'm going to be like. I would love to tell you, like, of course not.
Yeah.
But I also see a possibility of me being like, yeah, she doesn't like it here. We're leaving.
It's going to be uncomfortable. But like, you know, life is uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Mic drops like that. No, but for real, like, I think, oh man, I'm really getting passionate about this.
Good, you should. I'm getting so nervous
because they are professionals. I mean, I know that you wouldn't put her anywhere. You did your due diligence. You wouldn't put her in a place that doesn't feel safe for her, for you. You've done your part.
I hope so.
Yeah. And you have to trust the process. Mm-hmm. You don't have to trust them 100% right away. Obviously, it takes time. You need to see how they respond to certain things. Things are going to come up. You will know when it is an issue of her needing to leave the school.
Yeah.
But I also think that you might have some difficulty figuring out if those littler things are just discomfort as she's growing out of those surroundings.
Did you feel like you had that difficulty? Or are you saying that just because you know me?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, the fact that we have Mila in a multi-language school, and some of the kids that were in her class were already speaking another language, and she wasn't. And I felt like that wasn't the place for her because she was left out, or she wasn't at that level. And I remember feeling like she wasn't there, she wasn't going to get there, and that there maybe should be another option that we can consider, because she might be really uncomfortable, and I don't want her to be uncomfortable. I don't want her to be made fun of, etc. And that was so irrational for me to think, because she was 2.
Yeah.
She's barely speaking English. But imagine hearing a 2-year-old speaking in another language that isn't English. And I'm like, how do they know this already? But it's because, you know, they're just exposed to that. The same way Aurora speaks more Spanish.
Well, and that's another one of the reasons why I was like, even if she's not fully ready, I think she needs to go. Mm-hmm. Because she does only speak Spanish. And she speaks a lot for her age. And I say this all the time, I'm like, not because she's my daughter and like we all think our kids are the smartest and greatest, but she speaks a lot.
She does.
And, you know, for her age, she puts together small sentences. I mean, by the time she's 2, we will be having full conversations. We're almost there. And so I'm obviously really proud of how she speaks Spanish, and I want to keep that up. But I also see how much she's absorbing it, and she needs to speak English. And
well, you also want to take advantage of their age to absorb different languages.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing that I knew, but I couldn't really put
It
into
feels
practice.
different, yeah.
It feels different when it's happening right in front of you. And I was not nervous, but I was just eager to see how things progressed. And slowly but surely, you know, day by day, every day was going by. She was getting more confident. It was getting easier to drop her off. She wasn't crying every single time, because in the beginning she was crying every single time at drop off. It was really hard to walk away.
would you stay with her a little bit?
Yeah. I would stay with her a little bit.
But she'd still be crying?
She would still
Or would you wait for her to calm down?
I would wait for her to calm down. And then I would ask for help from the teacher. Sometimes they would just jump in. But to be honest, at that age, there were so many kids that were crying. It was hard for the teachers to be helping with every single one that was.
And at middle
hard
school,
time.
sorry, does everybody get dropped off at the same time? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
There's a window. So not everyone's getting there at the exact same time, but it's at the same time.
Most people drop off. How big is your window?
It's like 25 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's all the same time.
Yeah. And then there's also some kids that are dropped off at before care that are already there. So those kids obviously weren't crying.
This is making me feel a little bit more confident.
Good. What part of it is making you feel more confident?
Well, because one of the things is I didn't want that, right? I didn't want everybody being dropped off at the same time. I wanted, you know, like a staggered. So the school that I think we're going to go with has a 2-hour window to drop kids off.
That's a huge window.
Yeah. And so that was one of the things we asked, like, you know, what does drop off look like? What if drop off is rough? And they said that it's rare when you have a bunch of kids being dropped off at the same time, because it's such a big window. You're getting 1 to 2 kids, you know, so it's really easy for the teachers to manage tough drop off.
There were times that it felt like everyone came at the same time, and there were times where it felt very staggered. Going back to the crying thing and staying there, we would stay with her a little bit. Sometimes we would help, you know, draw a little something or whatever with her, because they're like, oh, come do this thing to distract you. And then as I was leaving, I could hear her crying really hard. And
I would turn around.
Yeah.
Like, I'd go back in.
I would go back in, but then I would see her with the teacher. The teacher was hugging her, like trying to get her to do other things. And then I would just have to walk away, obviously crying myself, but I knew that it was just part of the process. And it's hard. It's really hard, but like I had to go to work. I had to keep it moving, you know? I'm getting emotional thinking about it because it was really hard. It was really hard to let her go when she was crying that hard. But I really am grateful for the teachers that made the transition easier, which is why, like, that's why I say, like, you do your due diligence, you find a good school, you look at those people, and you'll know if you can trust them as much as you can. You obviously don't know everybody to their core, but you trust that they're a professional and they wouldn't choose to do that job if they didn't have the empathy and the compassion to help the parents through that transition and to help the kids through that transition. These are big changes for them, right? So they're going to do it as gently as they can, especially at that age. But, you know, as she kept going, each grade, the teachers would kind of encourage us to let go a little bit more. So her first year, it was like that. Then her second year was, we got it, mom. Bye, it's okay, she's good. And then that encouragement helped the parents get more confident. And then the third year, has gotten better. And I love that progression. Don't get me wrong though, Mila still has a hard time sometimes integrating herself into the class right away. She gets shy. She doesn't want me to go right away, but she's gotten so much more confident. And that's all that I can really hope for. And she's speaking the other language now. She's speaking Spanish, she's speaking French, she's getting more involved in the group, and that fear that I had in the beginning has totally gone away. And it really made me realize that I just really needed to trust in her as well, that she could do it.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, sometimes there were kids that were having a really, really hard time. And sometimes those parents would just stay. Like for, I think, I don't know about the full class, but I think that they like worked it out with the teachers where they're like, no, I need to stay.
Yeah, I mean, the school we toured today that Steve didn't like more than the one that we've already filled an application out for. I did. I think I liked it more. But it's not as functional. And I don't think I liked it significantly more. And it was significantly less diverse.
That's a big one.
Which is a big one. But today they said, the year prior there was a dad who sat in the class the whole time. It's one of the half day programs, so it's just 3 hours. But still, he said, that full year he just sat there.
Yeah.
And that would be me.
It makes me think of the parents that have a really hard time with their kids during gymnastics class, when the kids are so not about it and they're not going into the class. And so the parents are just like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
Go. And the kids are just like, no. And then the parents like, God, like, just go. And then they end up playing this whole tug of war thing, like the entire class. And then the parents are just like, oh, I just stayed
the whole class.
Yeah.
The whole time.
So many times I've seen something like that happen in Mila's gymnastics class. And I'm just like, damn.
Yeah. So one of the things I didn't know about until I started this process was all the different kinds of preschools there are.
Yeah.
So there's like daycare, which is just daycare.
So not really any total structure,
formal
curriculum.
Education, and that varies, right? There's in-home daycare, there's, daycare centers, a bunch of different kinds. Then there's like part-time programs. A lot of people call them transitional schools. So 2 days a week, 3 days a week, a couple hours a day, that kind of stuff, a combination of all of that. Then there's cooperative schools, which are also usually part-time, but parents play a large role. Sometimes parents teach, sometimes they do cleanup, sometimes there's rules. Every school runs them differently. And then there's full-day programs. And there's full-day programs with aftercare and a million other things. And it's so hard to figure out what works for your kid, what works for you, what works for your family.
Well, not to mention the different schools of thought with those different school structures.
Oh, for sure.
There's the Montessori, there's the play-based, which we just learned was Angelina something Russo.
Waldorf
schools. Which honestly, I've seen these schools around. I just thought it was some dead white man's name on a school.
Okay, honestly, I would fucks with the Waldorf school. Steve would never let me.
And the Waldorf school is the one that it's all outside. Not all outside, but
all imagination, all play-based, no math until they're like...
Oh, no tech as well.
Yeah, no technology, no math until they're like 6 or something like that.
Like a hippie school.
Yeah, it's like super hippie.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Which is not a judgment, by the way.
No, I'm a bougie hippie.
To be honest, I had no idea that there were that many.
Yeah.
I knew Montessori. That's pretty much it because I really like Montessori.
Yeah. Well, and then there's traditional, which is kind of like, well, probably what Mila's in, like a more traditional curriculum based. I don't know what you call those.
Yeah, I don't either.
And that's the school that she's been waitlisted on. It's very traditional. It's like you come in at this time. This is like they have curriculums, they have schedules. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And as I went down this process, I just don't feel like that's the right fit for her.
Yeah.
Or for our values.
Well, also, I don't know. It's just they're so young starting off. I know you say that you remember very vividly when you were younger and the first time you were dropped off at, what was it? Was it a preschool or was it?
It was a preschool, so it was Head Start.
Okay, how old were you?
Like 3.
Yeah. I don't know that a lot of kids remember that age very vividly. I don't know. But I don't remember that. For you to be like, I remember that very vividly. I remember how scared I was.
That's probably one of my earliest memories. The only memory I think I have earlier than that is, for some reason, I very vividly remember, I don't know if it's my 2nd or my 3rd birthday, but I had a Sesame Street cake. And I remember standing on a chair looking around and everyone singing to me.
Aww.
And I still remember Big Bird and the blue guy.
Elmo?
No,
I mean, not
Elmo's
Elmo. The Cookie Monster?
Yeah. On the cake. Like I but I, not in an all way. I remember like feeling really awkward.
This is giving me nostalgia because I had a Sesame Street birthday candle, I'm sure from a themed birthday party.
Yeah.
Very young, that we just kept year after year, and they kept bringing out. My parents
love that.
And it became a joke.
Yeah.
After a while, I think it was a Big Bird candle. It was one of those like really thick, waxy ones that like never died. So that's pretty funny.
I wish we still had it.
The candle?
Yeah. I'm going to go and see if I can find one.
I'm sure you can. Do you feel like that memory that lives within you
affects?
Yes.
Absolutely. Because I don't want her to feel that way.
But you do realize that, well,
choose your words carefully. Or I'm going to lose the deposit.
I'm not pointing any fingers at your parents or placing blame, but do you feel like they handled it the way that you would have? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't know how you reacted. I don't know how they reacted. I don't know what they did when you broke down. So knowing what you know, would you have done it the same way?
My mom had to leave.
Okay.
Like she had been there with me for a long time.
Okay.
She had done a transition. I remember we had gone in a couple of times. They did some sort of assessment. And it wasn't like my first time there. She dropped me and she left. And I remember her talking to me and being like, okay.
So it sounds like
it's school.
It's all the same.
Yeah. And then I remember just like crying for what felt like forever. And I remember her being like, I have to go. Like, I have to go. And the teachers being like, it's okay. But I'm sure I gave them a run for their money. I'm sure I did. And it wasn't for like a while that a little girl came and, took me, and I ended up playing with her. And I actually haven't asked my mom, because my parents don't really want her to go to school, so we don't talk about this that much. But I haven't asked my mom how long it was hard for me to go to school.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it could be that you're just hanging on to that memory where it was only for a couple of days.
That triggered all of my abandonment issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was probably just one day. It's like,
Well, that's the only day I remember.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember being super upset any other days. Maybe I was. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my mom.
But here you are now,
Yeah.
Educated. You can, well, no, you do have abandonment issues.
Oh, huge abandonment issues.
Shout out to the friends that you make in those earlier years. Those kids that are a little bit more okay with being at school and they just walk up to you and they're like, come be my friend. That was Jessica for me.
Yeah.
I was crying. It was pre-K or kindergarten. No, it was pre-K. And I was crying. And this is all hearsay, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. Does she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jessica says she remembers seeing me crying. I had a little apple dress on, a little apple and like a ruler and a pencil.
Very 90s.
Yeah. And she brought me in with the rest of the girls that were already playing.
Oh.
We've
Shout
been
out
best
to
friends
Jess. Ever since. Dang. No, I don't have any friendships like that.
Yeah, but there was someone that came and held your
There
hand.
was, yeah. Yeah,
And
there was someone who came and
I say
helped.
that because that happened to Mila, where eventually there was another little girl that came over and was like, look at this thing.
Yeah. I think I'm going to really focus on play dates, making sure she already has a good amount of play dates, but like be more intentional now that, you know, she's moving a little bit away from parallel play, getting her with her cousins, you know, and just socializing her a little bit more, especially over the summer, and then taking advantage of as much transition stuff that I can do to get her ready.
Do you feel like there's also something very scary about this first step, because it's kind of the first step that makes time just fly so much quicker after? At least that's how I felt.
For sure. I don't know if I've thought about it that much, but yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like as soon as I put Mila in school, she grew. She turned.
Yeah.
She went from 2 to 4
Yeah.
in the blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. Sorry to put that in your head.
I mean, I already feel like she's grown so fast.
She has.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's another reason why we're fearful, though. You know, we're letting go, figuratively and literally. That's really sad for us. Mm-hmm. We're letting go of our babies, even though they're always going to be our babies.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm so nervous.
It's going to be great.
I'm going to keep telling myself that.
It's going to be really great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
You have to be strong for Aurora.
I know. No, I do think it's going to be good. I don't have a lot of confidence in any of the schools, frankly. I know that's a me thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm really trusting Steve and leaning into what he thinks heavily. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so he chose the school. He feels really confident about it. And I want to trust him.
I was the same way.
Yeah. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, Yassine was very confident and passionate about the move that we were making for it. And I followed his lead. Mm-hmm. Because I couldn't be that same level of confident.
Yeah.
We also had, Mila and I had completely different upbringings. Mm-hmm. So it was very foreign to me, and in a good way. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't say that I am not great with change. I'm pretty adaptable, but I had a hard time with the change aspect, where it was different than how I ever thought I would be raising my kids. I mean, I went to public school, and I imagined my kids would go to public school. And I think this is another topic of conversation of like public versus private, and how do you make that decision? Because public schools are a little scary right now. A lot of people are choosing to homeschool.
Yeah.
I mean, our teachers are not getting paid enough.
Or treated well. Education in itself is just, or the educational system is just not well supported. It's not well funded. It's layered. Even paying for school doesn't always yield the results that you expect. So it is tough. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into making the decision for your kids to go to school.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, that's a part of it. The school she was waitlisted at is a private school, and it goes all the way to 8th grade. And Steve went to private school his whole life. I'm sure he would love for Aurora to go to private school. I went to public school, and I feel really strongly about children going to public school. But when I went to that school, I think I even said this to you. I said, I didn't even know private schools like this existed. And then it took me into this whole, headspace where we're like, if she gets in here, do we keep her here until 8th grade? They don't make the transition to leave easy, of course, naturally, because they don't want you to leave. And I'm like, am I really going to make her make new friends and all this other stuff? And then, they kind of start teaching things a certain way that like carries them through. And so we're like, okay, if she's here, we will likely have to stay for a while. Then financially, that's not something that we had necessarily prepared for.
And then you add a second one, maybe. Like, that's my case where I'm like, oh, a second tuition?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of the thought process.
And then I'm like, it goes back to the kind of first conversation we're having where I'm like, what are my beliefs now? What is my thought process? What do I think? And was I right back then? Am I right now?
Yeah.
And to give a little bit more context, so I grew up for preschool until 3rd grade. I was in a very diverse school, minority majority, and was extremely smart, the smartest one there. And so then we've joked about this in the past, right? I tested out and I went to what we called then gifted and talented program and switched schools and was in that program where suddenly I was the only Latina and there were only 2 Black kids. So it was the 3 of us. And I was no longer the smartest. And that was a really tough transition for me. And being in an all-white space also changed the way that I navigate the world. And for most of my life, I was really grateful for that experience and didn't really stop to think about how it shaped me in ways of like questioning my identity, I guess. And I guess making me feel othered. I would always say that in retrospect, it was clear I was different, but no one made me feel different. And I stand by that. And I'm still really grateful and appreciative to all of the parents and, my friends at that time. And it opened me up and I had experiences that I wouldn't have had if I wouldn't have been in those spaces that were difficult to navigate. But frankly, growing up like that did make me better prepared to work in the working world.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact.
It's just a fact.
That school had more resources, a lot of stay-at-home moms that were there to, help in the classroom, make sure it was clean, make sure we went on the best field trips. Just totally different. And so now when I visit schools, I really have grappled with the diversity aspect of it because in a perfect world, I want it to be very diverse. I don't want her to be the only one. Because I see the effect that had on me, long term. I saw something online a few years ago that was like, when did you realize that you weren't ugly? You just weren't white. And I was like, yeah, I remember being in like elementary school and, when people have crushes and stuff and nobody had a crush on me and I had to have been ugly. And now I'm like, I wasn't ugly. I was just poor and brown.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I just lived a different life. But that did, really affect my self-esteem. And I don't ever want Aurora to feel that way. So I want her to be in a really diverse space. But I do grapple with how am I going to prepare her to then work in a predominantly white world? And what does that look like? And I don't even know if it's fair for me to think that way because so much has changed, but it did shape who I am.
Yeah.
And so it is always, top of mind.
Yeah. I feel you on that. I think a lot of that thought process goes through my mind too. I didn't go to school where I grew up. I was using a fake address or something for me to go to a better school. Shout out to my parents. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for going out of your way to get me and my sister a better education, because where we grew up, those schools are not good. And as a result, I ended up going to, it was a diverse school, but it was definitely very white, in a white neighborhood. And it was really hard to figure out where I belonged. Mm-hmm. And I think a big part of parenting is trying to make sense of a lot of our realities that we grew up with, and understanding, I guess, the why behind some of those realities, and deciding how much of that you want to bring into the decision-making process for your children. Mm-hmm. I can't really look at things the same way because my kids are not in that position. Mm-hmm. So things are just completely different. And then on top of that, things have changed a lot since we were in school.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like we have to use our experiences to decide what we want for our children or what we don't want for our children, but then also do our part with understanding what this system looks like now and how schools are handling this today. And is this the type of school that I want my kids to be a part of? And it's just a lot for us to figure out and decide all at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I think we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah. I think it would be remiss if we didn't also acknowledge the privilege in having this conversation.
Absolutely.
We have the privilege of having the choice. Mm-hmm. So many moms don't have the choice in so many different ways, and do just the best that they can, have the privilege of having the time to do the research, go to the meetings, check out the schools, do the tours, do the applications, the money to submit these applications, and then to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because it is not cheap.
No.
Preschool, any childcare is not cheap. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so sad that in this country, we expect moms to bounce back, go to work, have their children thrive, I guess, and we don't offer any early childhood education. Because there are plenty of kids who stay home because that's all their family can do until they go to kindergarten. And then kindergarten is a huge transition, and they're way behind. Because there's so many parents that are in the same position that we are that set their kids up to be prepared for kindergarten. That's one of the questions I ask. What are you doing to prepare them to kindergarten? Because what I decided on was like a very creative play-based approach. That's what resonated the most with me. It's what resonated the most with our family. And, you know, I met my hippie needs without going too far. But, you know, one of the things that other parents ask too, do you teach them to hold a pencil? Do you teach them to write their name, their numbers, you know, all of this other stuff? Because that's what kids are doing now when they're in kindergarten. A lot of them know how to read in kindergarten. And I would be lying if I, you know, said that's not one of the reasons why I'm so focused on putting her in school. I would love to be like, let me just figure out whatever until she goes to kindergarten. But then she's going to be way behind, and I need her to be ahead. I need her to be ahead then to have a head start, because as much as the privilege that she has of having two college educated parents that have already navigated all of this, it will still come with its fair share of challenges because she's a woman, because she's Latina, you know, whatever it may be. So the more I can put her ahead now, the better it's going to be later on. Not to mention, I think about as she grows, right? Like getting into college now is so much more difficult
Yeah.
than when we were getting into college. And people can say, oh, it doesn't really matter what you do, blah, 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 when they're so young. I would argue it does because of how hard it is to get into college.
Yeah.
Because you've got to, I need her to figure out how to do homework and all of this stuff so that when she's in middle school and high school, she starts doing those extracurricular activities and she can figure all of that out. So she gets into a good school and goes to college and, does all the things that she needs to do.
Mm-hmm. If she wants to. That was a test.
Listen.
And on that note,
yes, if she wants to. Her dad, who lets her get away with everything under the sun, that's a battle she'll lose with him. Because, in all honesty, if she grew up and was like, I don't want to go to college, this is what I want to do, and she actually had a plan, it would kill me inside, but I would say okay. With the hope that later on she'd go to college, right? And I would be happy to pay for it and do all of the things then. Steve would flip. He would never go
well,
for it.
guys,
on that very somber note,
let's see if Mom Millennials is still around by the time
16 years from now?
We'll circle back.
Okay, wait, last question.
Yeah.
So today, I'd heard this before, but both of our babies are July babies. Today at the tour we went, they suggested and said that a lot of parents of late summer babies hold their kids back another year. So they don't start kindergarten at 5 because they would have just turned 5 when the school year starts.
Yeah, I don't believe in any of that. I don't really care. Does that make me a bad mom?
No.
So get in there, girl.
Yeah, the way I kind of thought about it, I was like, if I feel like she's not ready for kindergarten, okay, maybe I'll consider it. But she's speaking sentences right now.
Yeah, I say that very, nonchalantly. But I'm sure that if I felt like Mila wasn't ready, I
You'd
would
feel differently.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Just being a jerk about it for no reason. I didn't know that.
This is past 10 p.m. Lauren, y'all.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already shed some tears. That was the first.
It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to cry in our next episode. Or next, whenever it comes out. The weaning episode.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Okay, we're doing something new today.
We are. I'm not prepared.
Neither am I.
Great. So, Mom Millennials, I thought it would be a great idea for us to end each episode with a Mom Millennial affirmation.
And I agreed.
Deck of affirmation cards.
Or something cool.
To come soon.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you would buy it.
So our affirmation for today.
Yes.
Is.
I have it.
Great.
Trust the process.
I'm going to have to repeat that to myself.
Can you give me like a golf clap? That was good. Are we doing one for both of us? Or
I think we should do one for both of us.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Like
one each.
Combined. No. Like every episode we end with one affirmation.
Okay.
That people can use for the rest of the week.
Is that not an affirmation?
Yeah, and that would be it.
Oh, okay. So that's it.
That's it.
You got off easy, girl. How about I start it and you finish it?
I'm trying to think if we can think of a better one than trust the process.
What?
I just feel like it's so basic for our first one.
You clearly need that affirmation. You're choosing to run away from it.
That's funny because what I was about to say was, I'm not going to use that.
Y'all, We need to rethink this affirmation thing. Okay, let's hear
Got
yours.
away from me. I don't have one.
Well, then
I was going to make us stop recording so that we could talk about it.
Well, then we have one.
Okay. Trust the process.
It really sounds like that needs to be your mantra for the next week.
Can we make it spicier?
Sure. Make it spicy, girl.
Lauren rolling her eyes.
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know how to make it spicier, but I want
it.
like a little pizzazz to it.
Trust the process, bitch.
There we go. I can go with that.
You're toxic. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of the Mommillennials community. If you liked this episode, hit that follow button, connect on our socials, and don't forget to share with other mommies.
Want more? Head to our website, read our blog, grab some merch, and check out our other episodes. Until next time, bye.